Are you ready? Are you ready?
You have what we're talking about?
I have a topic.
Okay. I don't think,
Kinda.
I don't need my phone.
No, unless I text you. I go, hey, Spencer, where are you?
Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah, so I'm the holder of all information today.
Well.
How does that make you feel?
Well.
It's all me, baby.
Well.
All the power.
Well. S.
M.
You have all the power.
Soup! I don't want all this power.
Interesting.
Also, I look so short next to you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to SMSoup, the #1 podcast with soup in the name, but not on the brain. I am Spencer.
And I'm Shelby.
And together we're here to take you on a journey through life's biggest questions, like, waiter, how is this soup made? And New Year goals?
Kind
Is that what we're
of.
doing?
Part 2. It's just like an expansion. We kind of tried to cover so much last week that there's one specific challenge that you sort of loosely gave me an idea for.
Mm-hmm.
And then I decided, yeah, I'll go with it. So I figured it'd be fun to talk about that. And then if there's any other like hyper specific things, because we didn't really get to talk about, we kind of like really quickly ran through like,
Yeah, especially towards the end.
this. Just if there was anything else like hyper specific that we wanted to talk about.
Okay. All right. Well, before we do that,
yeah,
how are you?
I'm pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah. We got snow.
We did.
We got snow in the south.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thankfully nothing crazy. Literally just like mostly a frost, if we're being honest.
Thankfully, climate change isn't a thing.
Oof. Too real, dude. Too real. Oh my god. And I'll be honest, I hate snow.
Yep.
I'm gonna put that out right there.
Nice.
Hate it. I would argue a very big reason of leaving the north.
Yes.
Probably the biggest reason. One of.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the biggest
weather.
reason was probably the cold, which with that comes snow.
Right.
If it's not cold, your odds of snow are
pretty low.
Very low.
Yeah.
So I would say that's like, the big deterrent or the big motivator to move was definitely weather.
So then it was very funny to be like, for the first time in 2 to 3 years, we might actually get snow. And it's like, of course we will. Of course. I'm like the only person not excited about it. No, but obviously it wasn't anything crazy. But I do have to say, I hate snow, but there is something about that like morning after snowfall or frost or whatever. That's like kind of a vibe. Like I swear the sky is always bright blue. Always.
Very bright.
Very bright.
The sun is shining clear through, no clouds.
Yes.
And the way it just shimmers off of everything.
Everything.
Everything is like so much brighter.
Yes.
It feels like. I agree 100%.
There's a vibe.
Looking outside right now is like
very fun.
It looks gorgeous.
Yeah. And I am like looking up the street and I'm like, ooh, some little like frost tipped trees. That's kind of a vibe.
Yeah.
I want it to be gone by tomorrow.
Yeah.
But a vibe.
Yeah. Agreed.
I like explained it to my sister. I was like, snow gets 1 hour from me and then I want it the fuck out.
You look at it once. It's like, you like turn around and you see it.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay.
Oh, okay.
But by the time I turn around again, you better be gone.
Yeah. That's exactly how I feel about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was wild. But I hope anyone in the relative south who got it even a little bit it felt like there was a lot of excitement. People were excited. So I hope people enjoyed it for the little bit that it was. And yeah, Spencer, how are you?
I'm good.
Nothing else? No, nothing you want to talk about?
I'm good.
All right.
I'm doing good. I'm feeling good.
That's good. I'm glad to hear it. So the new year, right?
The new year.
2025. I had, really been amping myself up for the past few weeks that I was going to deep clean our house. And I kind of did. Like, I did to the extent that I'm going to do it, let's be honest.
Okay.
And in that, I was like, being like, ugh, we don't need this. Ugh, we don't need that. Why have I been holding on to this for who knows how long?
Sure.
And I'll say small collection of cameras,
Mm-hmm.
primarily vintage, came into question.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have a lot of shelf space in this place.
Mm-hmm.
Could we mount more shelves to the wall?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do I feel like it? No.
Mm-mm.
We're both people who you get about 3 months, I feel like, of these are the efforts we're willing to go to in the space we live in. And then after that, we've already decided that's a next apartment or next space of living activity.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but we're both like that.
It has to be like a first task at a new place, or else it likely
not
isn't
happening
happening until another place.
Yeah. And it literally, it doesn't matter. We have no intentions of moving as of right now.
Right.
But we've already crossed the line. We've both been like, oh, we could use this. That's a next apartment thing.
Yeah.
And we've always been like that. So basically, my cameras get just shifted around from time to time of we need this space for this, we need this space for that. And that's totally fine. I really don't use them, which is why it brought into question, why do I have these? And I was teetering, and I was like, I kind of want to get rid of them, but I don't. But I hate having things and not using them.
Yeah.
That is my least favorite. I'm not really a collector personality in that regard. I want them to, at least a huge portion needs to be usable. I understand some things are for display, but most things need to be usable if they're mine.
Sure.
So, had a moment, and you were like, you know what? Maybe you were like, give it a year. I mean, you can explain it if you want, because I'm probably gonna. You said give it a year.
You came down and you were like, I think I want to get rid of my cameras.
At least a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But
and
not all of them. You were taken aback.
There have been so many moments in my life where I have, traded something in or sold something. And then now I look back and I oftentimes regret those things. And what I'm talking about is video game related stuff, right?
Yeah.
So things that I still very much care about, and if anything have way more care and attention to and stuff like that than I ever did. And so I have a lot of regret when it comes to those things, and it's a terrible feeling. I had Pokemon Ruby.
I was about to ask, what was your biggest regret?
Right. And it's I think I just lost Ruby actually.
That's actually more devastating.
I don't even think I traded it in, but
yeah,
plenty of examples of times where, and that was just at the time, I needed or thought I wanted the thing that I was going to be getting more. So I traded in stuff because that was the means
of getting the new thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of regret and devastation with that when you then,
to put it lightly,
years down the road go, I want this thing. Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
It's now 3 times what it was originally.
Yeah. No, 100%.
And 3 times what it was originally. And when I traded it in, I got a third of what it was worth then.
Right. Right.
So, as somebody who has been dealing with a lot of regret over the past 2 years, right? Ever since I started collecting video games again.
Sure.
I've been hit with a lot of regret in a lot of different situations. It's a terrible feeling.
No, I agree.
It really sucks.
To not be on the same scale in any capacity whatsoever, because I was able to replace this regret for approximately $8. I got rid of one of my favorite children's books when I left my parents' house and had to get rid of all my stuff. Have to. elected to get rid of all my
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And like randomly, like late last year, I was like, I'm really sad I don't have that. Like it was like those ology books, like Dragonology.
Yeah.
I think there was Piratology, like fantasy based like books. I fucking loved that book,
Yeah.
and it just like brought me joy to have it. And I was really sad, and I like teetered for like 2 months. Do I buy this book? Because I know I'm not gonna like again. I'm a person who likes to use what I have. I know I'm not going to look at that more than once a year. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
But I
But
love
each
that
time you
book.
see it,
I love that book. Like that book is a core
yeah,
memory of like if I were to look back of all the things I've owned as a young person, kid, whatever, that is in my brain
yep.
as very strong. So again, not the same
Well,
because
and
I was able to replace
yeah,
it for literally
but
less than
it's
$10.
the same. I mean,
But yeah, no, I understand the feeling. I get it. And I
it's like, and
have had a few of
it's
those.
dramatic because
It's very dramatic, but
like none of it actually
sure.
matters per se on the grand scale. But
Yeah.
like you said, right? Like what it comes down to is that like these are things that bring us happiness and things
Yeah.
like that. And so you come to me with like wanting to get rid of your cameras, some of them, and
Mhm.
all I could think about was the
The
feeling
regret.
of regret that you could potentially feel. And like again, you can't like always just let that dictate how you
Right.
interact with things either.
Right.
I think it's great that like you work in such a way that like you want to own stuff that is going to have use. That's really smart. That's a good way to live.
Yeah.
You know? So like I have such an appreciation for that. And so all I could think about though was the regret that you might have. You haven't been like big into your photography
For a
probably
while.
for like 3 years, 2, 3 years, really. And you've been saying that you want to get back into it. And so
Yeah.
literally like just on the spot, it kind of all just like came to me in the moment where I was just like, this is the perfect way for you to see like, should you actually get rid of them? Because maybe at the end of this you will, still
Right.
find that like, yeah, I still want to get rid of some of them. And like if that's what you end up choosing, then at least you like did something to prove that to yourself. I
Yeah.
feel like sometimes like that's a good exercise for us to take to try and avoid those feelings of regret.
Right.
And so I told you I was like, how many cameras do you have? And it's, how many do you have? 12, 13?
I think I have 13.
13. And like some of those you said are either going to be really hard to get into working order or
Yeah.
like impossible to get into working
Yeah.
order. Fine. Doesn't mean they can't still be awesome display pieces,
Sure.
and like I also understand just holding onto stuff to eventually display is kind of
Oh.
foolish,
Yeah, but
like I think what's so cool about like our space my space, when you walk into the living room, we have all of the gaming stuff up, and it doesn't matter like how anybody else necessarily feels upon seeing all that, right? Like what's so cool to me is that like that is a true showcase of like me, my likes, and everything like that.
yeah.
And one day I hope that it doesn't necessarily need to be our living room. Like I hope
Right.
it can be in like its own thing.
Man, the day we have a living room that's not dedicated to like a video game, movie, tech collection, I'm like, what are we gonna put in there?
Well, I mean,
Oh,
it's
I see. I'm
still
being told it's gonna be.
it's still probably gonna be, it just won't be to this extent, most likely.
You're gonna have a few display pieces. You don't want
Probably.
everything in the living room.
Probably a few,
I
right?
see.
I mean, the
Oh,
two
sure.
PS5s are still going to be out there for.
Well, by then it'll be like the PS8s.
Oh God,
Yeah,
that's like 30 years away.
it's a bleak future.
Yeah, I'll say. Anyway,
Sorry.
no, you're fine. So. I
Yeah,
don't
some
know.
might be display pieces.
Yeah. So
they're not all.
But
yeah.
I said, I was like, okay, what if you did this? What if you like committed? I was like, how many pictures is it reasonable to take within a given month?
Which is kind of depends on the camera.
Sure.
Depends on the film type. Depends on a lot of things.
But it's like,
But yeah.
could you take a picture a day? Not necessarily actually take a picture a day, but like, could you over the course of 30 days, take 30 pictures.
photos. Yeah.
And I think you ended up settling on like 10 to 15 is probably like more realistic, just because like certain cameras are like film. And so like you have to be like very, very particular about your shots. But then like the digital ones, it would be a little easier to like hit those numbers.
Sure.
So it all kind of comes out in the wash as like 10 to 15 moments, 10 to 15, like whatever, like opportunities.
Yeah.
To try and like take some photos, and they can be on the same day, they can be at the same place, whatever. And I was like, okay, so what if you strove to take 10 to 15 photos each month, and each month you use a different camera, and you just number all your cameras 1 to 12 or however many are working, and just random number generator, and do this, like do it for this year, and then do it every year going forward. Like every year going forward, challenge yourself to use a different camera each month, because obviously the cameras you have span, so many years, right?
Yeah.
So if in March of this year you're using one camera, but then March of next year you're using a different camera, obviously March has a similar feel every single year, but you'll be taking different pictures at different points in time with different cameras of different times.
Yeah.
And it's just I feel like it'll just create such a cool array of like photos and stuff like that. And obviously like the manner in which you swap around the cameras you use could change. I even threw out that it's like, or do it this way for this year, so that way you try to use as many of your cameras as possible, because maybe you'll use one and be like, it's either one to go to the shelf or one that I just don't even want anymore, and then great, right?
Yeah.
Like problem solved. But like next year it could just be that like, okay, in January, random number, I'm starting with this camera and I'm going to use it until I don't want to use it anymore.
Yeah.
And I could use it until June, and then I'm finally kind of fed up with it, and then random number the next one.
Yeah.
And use that one until you're fed up with it or whatever. But like finding a way to kind of somewhat gamify and like swap around the use of your cameras and stuff like that. And in so many ways this is like a much more important like way of like shifting things around. But like something that I do that isn't important whatsoever is that like with my PlayStation controllers, I try to like have a system so that I'm like swapping around which one I'm using, but they're all the same except for the like Pro Elite controller or whatever, right? But with cameras, there's actual like differences between most of them, like like feel and everything like that. So like it's even more reason, I think, to actually like have a system in place to like be swapping them out, and so that you're not just constantly using the same camera and everything like that. So
yeah, I'm also excited about it because like again, the whole like I want the things I have to be used and whatnot.
Right.
I am a person of many interests, many hobbies. And I would say I like tend to sort of stretch myself thin with a lot of those, like by trying to do 105 things at the same time. And so it's not to say I like need to narrow it down to like if that's what happens, that's what happens. If it gets narrowed down, great. But it's sort of just like I want the hobbies and whatever things that I have, I like want to be invested in them. Like I want to like I don't want it to all be surface level. Like surface level's fine. It's like where you're curious, it's where you're just playing around, and that's great. But I mean, technically, like not that it matters, but like technically I have a degree in photography. Like, you know what I mean? Like I should be a little bit beyond like where I'm at.
Sure.
Regardless of it being like for money. Like that's not what I'm worried about. It's just like this is a activity that like has been very enjoyable to me. Like enjoyable, thank you. Has been very enjoyable to me like in life, and I like haven't been doing it for a very long time. So it's just like trying to get deeper. So like so basically I mapped out the first 5 months of 2025 on like what my cameras are, and 2 of them are problem cameras, as in I might not be able to get them working, or the film's really hard to get a hold of. Like I was kind of doing like a quick Google search. Like I wrote down all the cameras, which I won't like get into all of it because it's just gonna be me saying like stupid names of cameras that no one cares about. But like I would do a quick Google search of like, you know, what film does this need? What specific like battery type or whatever does this need? Et cetera, et cetera. And it's like roughly half and half. I do have like quite a collection of like 35 millimeters. So like super easy, like the
Sure.
easiest film type to get your hands on outside of a like a Polaroid camera. And so like not a problem. But like then I have all these really random ones that are on like even older film that some are like, yeah, you're gonna have to rewire the battery pack to like get it to use today batteries because there's no point in like searching for old batteries and like, oh, this like you're gonna have to adapt like I-20 film to like this to, like, and I'm just like, oh my god. And but like I'm here for it. Like I'm here for a challenge. I'm here to at least try it. I'm here to at least like give it a go. Because it's like if the ultimate decision is like I don't care, then that's fine. Like at least I came to a decision over just
Yeah.
like being stuck in this middle space. But yeah, so I am excited because I think it'll just like be a fun challenge and like give me something to like actually focus on over like feeling frustrated of just like seeing things in passing.
Yeah.
So by mapping so far out in advance, the hope is like if you know I have some downtime and like just want to be like focusing on something, I'm like watch again. I know like one camera was my dad's and it's busted. It functions like I can hear it powering up and like doing what it's supposed to, but it's not totally working for whatever reason. And I've like seen tons of comments where it's like, oh, this is almost always the issue. And like, I'm like, okay, I can just spend a night watching a dumb amount of YouTube videos where I'm opening up this camera and probably maybe breaking it more, but like worth a shot to get it to work again
Yeah.
over not. Like, who cares? But yeah. So, and then in the future, I just think it'll be interesting that it'll like give me confidence when because knowing me, I will accumulate more cameras. Even though I'm sitting here saying I don't want them, I will accumulate. Like we almost bought 2 more cameras within days of talking about this. Because there's just so many cool random ass cameras.
There are. I also think something that's like cool, like cameras are cool because they're documenting.
Yeah.
You know, like they're documenting an like a thing,
Right.
right? And what's really like neat about this idea, I think, and just like makes it worth it to, like you said, just try and get these things to work and to use them, even if you only use them the one time.
Yeah.
Right? Like you get one roll of film because it was a pain in the ass to get. You got it wired to work and all that stuff. And you use that roll of film and you will never take a picture with that camera ever
Right.
again. But you will have all the pictures that you took with the camera.
Yeah.
And just think about that, right? Like, you know, especially if it's film, right? Like you can develop them and everything and like have like a little photo book that goes with the camera.
Right.
That's like, these are photos that I was able to take with this camera. And like,
Right.
even though I'll never use this camera again and it's a sick ass camera and it looks so cool and people are going to look at it and be like, whoa, you know, does that work? Because everybody always asks those types of questions. And it's like,
Right.
no, it doesn't, or it did, but it's a pain in the dick.
Right.
But the one time I got it to work, look at this shit.
Right.
You know, I think that's just so, I think that's cool. And I think there's such like a tangible, like cool outcome from using all of these that you'll get that, yeah, I don't know. And I, you know, no new challenges for me this year. So to be able to come up with a challenge.
You're the
and,
challenge
like, levy it to
maker.
somebody.
Yeah. And not have to do it.
No, so it's so funny because like I literally said I wasn't gonna do any challenges, and yet I came up with a challenge, and then I
Yeah.
had a challenge brought to me
Yeah.
to do. So
Yeah.
can't
Not
escape 'em.
nearly as complicated as last year, but or I should say as like daunting as last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, challenges are fun. Like they just like motivate you to like get deeper into something.
Yeah. Well, and I think they work for you and I.
Yes.
I mean, they definitely work for me.
I need to have it's better I'm really bad at having like focus in my challenges. Like I'm a person who once I'm doing one challenge, I like my brain's like, oh, we'll add this to it, we'll add this to it. And like I'm
Mm,
really that's where I'd say I start to fall is because I'm trying to do too much in one thing,
sure.
thus losing the point of everything. But otherwise, yes, in terms of like how my brain works, I would say challenges are great for me
I
to
mean, there's
actually
definitely the
like
thing that like
motivate.
motivate
Yeah.
to actually do said thing.
Yeah.
Whereas just saying that like in 2025 I'm gonna try and drink more water.
Yeah, right.
Like it's like I don't know how to gamify or and make a challenge around that. But if
Right.
I could, then maybe
Right.
uh, I would actually be better about it.
The other thing that's so funny about this camera challenge that I know is going to creep up on me so fast is I told myself I had to take a class in college to learn how to like develop film and all that. And having access to a dark room is like beautiful. It's so fun.
Hmm.
Just like you're just in there mixing chemicals, watching like doing the thing. Um,
So in our next
so
place, you want to create
I've always told myself I will have a dark
a
room.
dark room.
As someone who's barely touched any of my equipment, I have accumulated a few rolls of film that need to be developed. There are places that develop them in case anyone's like, just do that. I know. I know there's places that
But
develop them. I'm aware of like 3 places in our city alone that do it. There's probably more.
hear me out.
But the temptation, like I will sit here and I'll be like, okay, well, I have 5 rolls of film to develop. At that rate, I should just buy the equipment and turn our bathroom into a dark room and then I can develop my own film.
Don't turn our bathroom into a dark room.
When I turn into a dark room.
Turn that closet in the second bedroom into a dark room.
Ooh. Yes, except for the fact that I would probably need better ventilation than what's in there. But
Why?
just because.
Yeah, you'd probably gas yourself out pretty quick with the chemicals and stuff.
But anyway, that's a really good idea, that closet. But yeah, I know this is the dangerous thing because I'm really bad at just like letting one thing be its thing and not accumulating more on top of it. My brain's immediately like, I need to now be a dark room. Like I need to make a dark room. I mean, make's very loose. Like get the like chemicals
Hmm.
and like the canisters and blah 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 blah. And like that's obviously what I have to do to complete this challenge. When that's not what I have to do to complete this
Right.
challenge. But like
Right.
that is where I already know my brain is going there and the temptation is there. And have I Googled kits? 1000%. But I need to not. Like that needs I need to not. The goal is to dive deeper into what I already have without really accumulating much more.
Yeah.
Because
Yet.
I
Prove
need to have
to yourself
yes.
that what you have now is enough and that you could take on more. and then
Exactly.
take on
I know it's just such a dangerous game because I want like I know picking up. Well, I literally picked up my 35 millimeter and I saw like 3 finished canisters of film and I was like,
Oh no.
well, at this point, paying for all that to get developed, I can just buy
Yeah.
the equipment.
So true.
Anyway, if I'm talking about a dark room at the end of the year, you know what happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, challenges are fun. And I like to hear people's like I find this time of year to be very exciting to like listen to like other creators and people who make content because I think some people come up with some really fun challenges and really
Mhm.
like interesting challenges. And it's just very like it's nice when everyone's excited about something.
Yeah.
We all feel a little rejuvenated, a little bit of hope
Yeah.
in ourselves, in
Yeah.
our year to come.
Yeah.
And then it's funny sitting in December and hearing the hope we had in January and being like, oh, friend.
I've never experienced that.
Well,
I've always completed my challenges.
next year you can listen to. I just feel like I listened to our January episode from 2024 and I was like, wow, we were so energetic and excited.
Yeah.
And I don't feel that listening to this. No, you probably were.
But then I nailed it.
Yeah, you killed it, but
It is funny that you say like challenges and like things like that. Like there's just a general excitement because when Mike brought the idea of how like he and I can like work through our backlog of games, it was just like each of us was just like ratcheting it up a little bit more and just like getting more excited about like how to go about it and like do it. And honestly, most of it came from him anyway. And like it then like it's just like a fun thing to like,
It's a fun thing to
push for
share.
and
It's a
share.
fun thing
Yeah,
to
yeah,
experience
100%.
together and hear about other people. And I mean, doing it, like you're effectively doing a buddy gaming challenge.
Yeah,
Like that's really fun as
and it's not
well.
like a competition really.
No,
Like,
you're true. It's literally show and tell.
yeah, pretty much. So it's I'm like so looking forward to that.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I'm also like relieved to not have
a real big
like
challenge
yeah.
looming over your head. Yeah, yeah, 100%. Well, maybe if this comes up throughout the year, I'll be trying to update if
Yeah.
I'm able to if I'm magically good at fixing cameras based off YouTube videos and Reddit threads, or if I'm not at all. We'll find out. And will we have a dark room in our house by the end of the year? Who's to say? But haven't found any kits on Face Marketplace yet. Anyway, that is all. If you have any fun 2025 challenges you're attempting or you're thinking about or you've heard, feel free to let us know. Both of our socials are in the description. And yeah, I think that's it. You can find us on all podcast streaming platforms as well as YouTube at SMSoup Podcast. And we'll see you next week.
Don't forget to watch 2021 movies.
Yeah, they're pretty stinking good.